Welcome to the fourth episode of the GC Experience. Today I'm here with my boy Ravi.
What's up? How you doing? Thanks
So,
for having me.
yeah, of course. So Ravi and we've known each other for a while. We went to school together, obviously, and then we both are going to the same school. We started talking there, and I didn't really even realize that we had a lot of the same interests, and I was
Yeah, we
really
do.
surprised to find out that we both are really into a lot of the same stuff, and it's just cool to find people I guess in the same area, and we're open-minded with things. We're just that sort of connection
Yeah,
with
man.
all the cool stuff
For
we're
sure.
into. Yeah, it's just nice having that. But yeah, today I just wanted to talk about I guess focusing on yourself and how that can help you get better, and how that's helped me, and just getting into it. I feel like right around the time of junior year is when I started seeing where I wanted to be, I guess, and started to focus on, I guess, getting better. Didn't like where I was. I've talked about this a little bit before in previous episodes, and a big piece that helped me get to where I was is just focusing pretty much on myself and getting better than what I used to be, getting better than my old self, pretty much. I mean, I would think of it as bossing up on my prior self, and I'm my only competition. And if you think of it that way, you'll get better. I don't know about how it was for you, but I think we sort of have the same story about we didn't really like where we were as much and just
Yeah,
started getting better and liking
for
ourselves
sure.
more. I think I started almost doing things that I want to do because I want to do it, even if it's not the
Right.
popular opinion,
Right.
or regardless of what I see around me, just doing what I feel and doing what I think will help me get to where I am, cuz I feel like it's easy to get caught up in looking left and right when you should really be looking forward on what you want to
Yeah.
be.
No, for sure. I mean, like you said, at the end of the day, it's your life, man.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? At some point, everyone realizes it. Like, you definitely are fortunate enough to have realized it at
Oh,
such a
yeah,
young
for
age. You know what
sure.
I mean? It's
Yeah.
you kind of have an advantage
Yeah, I'm
already.
just grateful that I've seen
Um,
it, yeah.
and it just sucks. It's really just soul crushing kind of to see these guys go through it. And they're 40, 50, and then they're kind of figuring it out, oh,
Oh,
fuck, maybe this is about me, maybe this is not about, everyone else and media and everything else I'm seeing, we really only have one life.
yeah, or
You know what I
just
mean?
or just going down the path of someone else's dream, or trying to fulfill what
Exactly.
someone else
What,
thinks.
or what you think someone wants you to be.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean?
Chasing the wrong things, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's such a shame, I think, in today's culture, at least, a lot of people have a really hard time trying to figure out what it is they want to be once they realize, hey, this is my life, this is my decision, I can really do this for myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
and it's a shame because there's so many things out there to help us, but at the same point, that also almost clouds it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes like you said, when you get too much, it almost has a sort of negative effect
For
to the
sure.
point where you're thinking too much rather than actually doing real things in your life that actually have an effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, focusing on yourself, right? You can kind of almost make that more simple. It sounds like a kind of simple idea, but then again, it's also not.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
for sure.
But
I think it just starts with seeing where you optimally want to be and taking actions based on that. And when you keep that in mind, you can realize what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So one thing that I think of is if someone asks you to go hang out, but you have to work out, or you really have this routine that you should start
yeah,
building, and you keep saying you want to do this, you keep saying you want to do this, and you keep going and doing something else, and then you're finally making a little bit of progress, and then someone's like, oh, you want to hang out,
that's a step back.
then you have to realize sometimes that you got to say no to things like that,
Yeah.
and you got to do what's important to you, because at the end of the day it's gonna benefit you.
No,
type
for
thing.
sure. It's about priorities, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's about paying the man. You got to have those boundaries you can set for yourself. And at the end of the day, every time you promise yourself something, or you tell yourself you're gonna do something, and you don't do it, that's a little chip away.
Oh, for sure.
Every time, and you don't even realize it. You know what I mean? But over time, that stuff
Absolutely.
builds up,
Yeah.
and it can be extremely detrimental to your mental health.
Yeah, and it's something that you really don't realize until it gets really bad. You never see the decline, you never see the decay until it actually
No,
starts hitting.
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, but
It's kind of like one of those things, right? Where it's oh, just for dessert won't hurt me.
Oh,
This dinner won't hurt me. This
yeah.
won't hurt me. But over 2 years, all of a sudden you're
even
50
less
pounds. You're
sometimes.
50
yeah.
pounds heavier. You're depressed. You're all these kinds of issues coming out of that. And then again, that's when the point, like, that kind of, that switch flips. And then you're like, oh, fuck. Like, all the shit I've been doing for the last few years isn't prioritizing myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not focusing on myself.
Yeah.
So now what do I got to do? Now, focusing on yourself becomes a transformative thing. You know what I mean? It becomes an experience where, like, hey, like, I'm not in a spot where I want to be right now. If I focus on myself, maybe that can help me get to where I want to be. But it's got to be small.
Yeah, exactly.
Every little thing you do, if it's focusing on yourself. And a lot of times people think that's a selfish thing almost. I really don't think it can be, because you can be selfish in the healthy way of focusing on yourself.
I agree, totally.
Still be a super good dude, still be super kind. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, you got to love yourself.
Of course.
You got to focus on yourself, because this is your life again.
Yeah, and you know what I think about is, like, people that bring up, like, this thing about how it could be selfish. It's like, when you're becoming a better person for yourself, you're becoming a better person for other people.
It's almost it's selfless. It's a heroic act almost.
Yeah,
I mean, as
when it can be looked
egotistical as
at,
it sounds, it really is.
yeah, because
what I
it
mean?
really does help more than just you. When you're becoming a better person, you're building
Absolutely.
character, and you can talk with people better, and
Yeah.
you can appreciate things better.
Absolutely.
But just some things I wanted to add about focusing on yourself are how it's important to block out the noise of the things that don't matter, and almost sort of just be forgetful of the things that you shouldn't be thinking about, things that shouldn't be occupying space in your head, so you can make room for what you should be thinking about and what you should be focusing on, and just focus on what matters to you. It's sort of like, I think of it as being in my own world and not really paying attention to the other things. And it's in a healthy way, of course, positive and constructive sense, you know? And when you're thinking of it in that sense, things get really interesting, because you start to develop almost a sense of self, and you start to see things a lot more in a positive way, and you start to just get better than yourself. And when you're in your own world, it just makes it a lot easier to not compare to anything but yourself. And to me, that's the best way to go about things. Just getting better than your old self, leveling up, just focusing on you. And that's just something that's so interesting to me. It's just such a great thing to me, and it's just, I've seen how much it's helped me, and I just want to try and give that to other people. Yeah, like you were saying about the thing where you don't really, once it really gets bad, it's like flipping the switch. Like, that's exactly what I
you
saw.
hit rock bottom, and then it's
there's a point where everybody wakes up, and you really don't realize until you, like, fully realize that it's actually happening.
almost too late, and sometimes it is too late.
Yeah.
And that's tragedy.
Yeah, and it's really crazy to, like, think about how it works, because, like, focus on yourself. Like, when you really hit that point where it's like you're flipping the switch and just done with where you are, and you're actually making progress, it's always going to be a slow thing. It always takes time. It's like, I think of it as like building a habit, or like mindfulness, like
Totally.
meditating. Like, that's something that takes a little bit to get used to, just like everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a slow ease until you start to become more comfortable with it, and you start to adjust to it, and then you start to
And that's
get
hard.
the benefits
That's
of it.
hard to start, right? Like, sometimes it's not as, obviously it's not so rewarding if you're only a week into it, and it's like, man, like, I'm not really that much changed, but like, you are changed. And that's sometimes hard to realize. Like, you are a different person than you were a year ago. You are a different person than you were 5 years ago. You are a different person than you were yesterday.
Yeah, for
And people
sure.
forget that.
Yeah.
But you are. And,
Yeah.
and it's really up to you as whether you're changing in a positive way, or you're just hurting yourself more,
Yeah, exactly.
for sure.
And yeah, like, I think it's just, like I said, a thing that takes time, and part of that is just being disciplined, and even though you don't
Exactly.
want to do it, you
Yeah,
still
you
have
have
to
to.
do it, you know?
Because again, this is something I always think about, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's not you versus the world. It's not you taking on everyone else. It's you versus you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Always,
mean? If you
yeah.
can conquer yourself,
sure.
you know what I mean? It's you versus you. Every
Yeah.
day, you are your toughest critic. Like, you are the hardest person in the room to beat.
Yeah.
You have to beat yourself. You have to be hard on yourself, because honestly, no one else cares about you, or no one else should care about you more than you care about yourself. Again, focusing on yourself, right? You should care about yourself. You should learn to love yourself. And again, this takes time, and that's what some people don't have, is the discipline to sit down, realize this stuff, and actually commit to making a change for the better for themselves over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, it's so weird to me to think of, like, what is the thing that builds that? Like, what creates that in someone? I honestly, like, I guess I've just been really fortunate that I've been able to be disciplined with myself, and it's something that I really want to just help other people with that
Yeah.
don't really feel like they can just like flip the switch, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's something that I still haven't really figured out, but I think when you just continue to focus on where you want to be and never let go of where you want to be, then you're not going to be acting mindlessly, and you're going to be acting with you're outweighing the benefits of what you want to do, or thinking about if you're going to do this, then that won't help you get where you want to be, and then where do you really want to be? And then you're just thinking about that, you know?
Yeah. Like again, you can't have the good without the bad. Life is kind of, I mean, right, like I'm 18, I'm a baby.
Yeah,
You know
of
what
course.
I mean?
We will.
I don't have the most life experience
Yeah.
in the world. You know what I mean? But like I think I'm fortunate enough to at least try to grasp like this balance of life. You know what I mean? Like there's like this weird balance, yin and yang dance to life so far that I've seen is like where there's good, there's also the worst
Always.
of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like everyone has their shit. That's given. But like you can't have the good times without the bad times. You can't know what the good times are without experiencing the bad times.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't appreciate it as much, and B, you won't even like recognize it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
for sure. And like it goes in the reverse way as well, like with having the bad without the good. Like if things are shitty, like they will get better. Like
Yeah,
it's just how it
they
is.
always
But
do.
yeah, and just
Ebb
having
and
that
flow.
faith, having faith that it's
Yeah.
gonna get better. That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
because if you believe that it will, even if that belief is so small, it makes the world
Even
of
if it gets
difference.
better in like the smallest possible way, that's hope, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's still
hope
better.
it's
Yeah.
hope for a better future.
Yeah, like
So the smallest change can inspire you to do so much.
yeah,
You
for
know
sure.
what I mean? Just one 3 shitty weeks, just terrible interactions with people, terrible in your own mind, and then one nice person on the street one day says one nice thing to you. That can change everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like that gift can never be too small.
Yeah, it's always those little moments that you look back on, or maybe you don't even look back on. Maybe you actually realize in the moment like how much it lifts you up. But it's crazy. It's like I always say, it's like piece by piece, small change by small change. It always creates
Yeah.
the big effect, and
Yeah.
it's just about building the momentum and just being like having faith that you're just gonna keep getting better, whether that's mentally, whether that's emotionally, whether that's physically. Yeah, you know.
I think it can come to like at the basis of it, like humiliate, like or being humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like just the smallest appreciation of where you are, like hey, like I have a house, I have water, I
Yeah,
have food.
some
Like
people don't
you
have
can
that,
find,
straight
so a
up.
lot of people in the world don't have that, and it's a shame because like a lot of people don't realize how good they have it, right? And again, the weird trick, weird dance game of life is like the people who like don't have that stuff would do. They're oftentimes like they're very happy, and they really
Yeah.
wish that they had even the smallest of what people say in America have. You know what I mean? And like if you can have that appreciation of like, hey, like just because I was born here, like I'm already better off than most of the world. Like
Oh,
just
for
that
sure.
alone, realizing that in yourself, if you can fully appreciate that, like wow, like I have it good. Like that alone, just that little thought, that little flame in your head, right? That can drive you
Absolutely.
so far into just like being better. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I heard something that it was like it's not about it's something how it
Oh,
goes
so
like
this is my wallpaper on my phone. It's something. It's like it's like a book that Joe Rogan recommended, and it's like the main thing of it is like if you live by these 4 things, your life will improve tenfold.
oh
And
that's
I've literally been having this on my wallpaper for like a
That's
month.
fire.
So every time I see my phone, I read this shit,
Yeah,
and
I
literally
like
like
that.
this alone, like just this shit, I like this. I hold myself to this stuff, right? So like just this, and this is gonna be good. Like I'll say this shit in here.
Yeah, see,
Like,
I have a
just-
Google Doc that's just like
Like
this.
just
Yeah.
this alone, this fucking picture on my screen right now, just this has made my life a lot better in the last month.
That's fire.
Like just these 4 lines.
You know what's crazy too is I think even like the really small things, like even when you, I mean, like when you keep it simple rather than having a lot of things you're looking at, like you were saying, like the sort of like overclouding, like that
Yeah.
makes so much of a difference.
No,
like,
it does.
It's crazy, like how
Prioritizing.
much, like yeah, exactly.
No, it does for sure, man.
Like just keeping it simple, because that's something I've struggled with so much, because like I'll have so much stuff that I want to work on, or like I'll have like something that I want to work on for like
Yeah.
and I just write all of it down.
Yeah.
I just write so
And
much
it's
down.
almost like, okay, well, like, what do you really want to do? Like, what
I
do you
know.
really want to work on right
Yeah.
now? Like, what do you really want to get done?
Yeah, so it's like you just gotta focus on one thing at a time and keep
Yeah.
it simple. That's what I always try to remember.
Yeah.
Cause like I don't know if you can see, like I just have all this stuff on the board, and then I have like this, and then I have the notebooks. Like it's just sometimes too much juggling.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think you do a really good job with
well,
like
thank you.
just
Yeah.
coordinating what you have and working with everything. you
Yeah.
have.
See, I sometimes it's just stressful because there's so much that I'm thinking about, and it's like just me working on all of it. But
Yeah.
it's not about okay. It's not about wanting blah blah, but wanting what you have. Or fuck, I just really want to get this.
I think like some of this shit's good too. Like in podcasts, like the little banter, like wait.
I know,
Like, so
see,
like
I
like
want to
some
get
of
to
this
the
shit.
point where we can start posting this because I feel like right now it's just about building and following, and that's
Yeah.
like I want to not leave this type of stuff in
Yeah.
because I feel like trying to build an audience like this isn't the best thing to leave it. But I don't know, I
Yeah.
might be wrong.
I
but
I think honestly, I think it's good
you do
because
yeah.
it's more like it's not like we're talking at people sometimes because like sometimes it's a
hate that, yeah.
conversation, but sometimes it's like it feels like you're like we're preaching to people.
Oh my
like,
God,
like
no.
we think we're like up here, but like so when you include like the normal conversation shit, it's like oh what the fuck's actually going on?
Yeah, I know.
And just like two dudes just like literally talking.
Or
about
like
shit.
or like talking in metaphors and being
know what I
like if
mean?
it's up, it can't be down like that
you know
sort
what
of thing.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was saying though, it's like it's not about wanting what you have. Fuck, bro. It's not about having what you want. It's about wanting what you have.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought like oh it's like so true. Like it really is like just being grateful for what
Yeah.
you have because
No,
it could
it
be so
is.
much worse. But
No, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so like some of the stuff like even in like these old religions, like a lot of this cool old philosophies and these old theological ideas are like really interesting. And it's funny because like even the classics, right? Like they don't go out of style. They're the classics for a reason.
It's
These
crazy how
religions
everything
have been
holds
so
up. Yeah.
they've been so impactful for a reason. No matter with all the new AI and all the new scientific tools we have and everything we have, and it's still the same principles started thousands of years ago.
And
that
they still hold
dictate-
up.
That dictate schools of thought.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean?
like think of how much Greek and Roman
Yeah.
thought
yeah, man.
and like what's it called? Greek and Roman thought and
Thought,
like
philosophy.
what
yeah.
are they? What's it called? Oh, and the government. Like how
Right.
much that is.
So
that
we
is based
still
on our
right.
society.
So we still, again, like to this day, like that is still like the standard of like. I mean, there's more modern ideas created out of like the birth of that stuff for sure, but like at the foundation of everything, like there's that stuff, right? Like obviously there's a Western political philosophy and there's a Western theological philosophy and there's Western everything, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the more modern stuff, but the classics are the classics, and there's a reason why we're in college we still take classes on the classics, and there's
Yeah.
a reason why when you're in high school you still read Shakespeare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy just to think like everything now there is not really innovation anymore. Like
Yeah.
we kind of made everything, and now it's just like using references of everything that's already been created, which is just it's interesting like trying to like navigate or come up with new things like at this point in like I guess the world, you know, because
Yeah,
like I
it
feel
is.
like there are new things when it comes to science, but when it comes to like basic ideas of like philosophy or like ways of thinking, it's like all goes back to like
There's
the fundamental
There's only so
things.
many things you can think
Yeah,
of. There's
that's
only so many
exactly
ways
what I
your
mean.
brain can conceive a question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So when you nail it, like those like the classics, there was a lot of shit before the classics. Like there was still tons of time before that, and obviously there were still many ideas and shit written before that. Granted, we've lost a lot of that stuff. So imagine if we didn't lose any of that knowledge and any of those ideas, where we would be now.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to even think about that, right? There was way more stuff before that. So the classics, again, they were built upon other stuff, and everything we have now is built upon other stuff, including the classics. So it's like, here's everything. Like,
Do you know about Marcus Aurelius?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, like to me, like that's like one of my like inspirations. Like it's like
He's
so
great.
yeah, it's so he all of his writings and like
I
all
haven't
of
read
his
him as
thought.
much as I would like to.
I feel like I started reading
You know what book I'm rereading right now?
what is that?
Which is like I read it like a long time ago. Do you know Animal Farm? By
I've heard
by
of it.
Orwell.
I've never read it though.
So do you know 1984?
I don't know.
No, really.
What is what is it
Animated movie,
about?
1984. Okay. It's like, so Animal Farm is about like animals, obviously, that live on a farm. But in sense, it's really about communism.
Just like a metaphor.
It's
Yeah.
really about like pictured utopia that's really a dystopia. And it's really interesting because it's such a basic like society like that Orwell created here, and he's really like the father of like these dystopian realities, right? It's just a funny book that I'm revisiting because it's like such a like a simple book, but like at the same time it's very powerful.
Yeah, like we were saying, like the
Like
simple
you can
stuff
read it,
holds such a.
you can read it in a day. It's not a big book. It's
Oh, really?
you can read it in a day.
Is it a kid's book?
It's not a kid's book. Like it seems, and again,
How many pages, like,
it's
roughly, do you remember?
probably-
Like, less
it's
than
100
100?
something.
Yeah.
It's over 100, but it's not like it's not a difficult read. Like it's not hard to read.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like it's such a powerful book. I like probably my favorite like vehicle for like thought and shit like that is like movies.
Oh, I
Like
totally
movies
agree.
are
Yes.
literally like my favorite. Like if I had the money and the time and the will to be like a film major, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would make movies. You know what I
That's
mean?
kind of like,
Like that's what I would do.
yeah. Well, you know what's funny? It's like I kind of want to be like going into that lane a bit with like GC stuff. Like,
Yeah, man.
my plan is to like, I guess, sort of tell like the story of like getting better, like the things I've gone through, experienced, and like make that into like short video or short movies or like full length stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I feel that'd just be so cool.
No,
you
but
know?
I like everything like just from like short films, like little animations or like those like you remember the video like you made some of those like on YouTube, like you got those videos of, like the original
Oh,
GC
yeah.
one, like that
Yeah,
shit is
yeah.
so like just that stuff
CD,
alone is
yeah.
so awesome. CD, yeah,
I know.
that stuff is so awesome. Like just those short videos, like that. I think like that shit, like especially like the raw, like non-produced, non-written.
Doing
That
that.
is like probably the most accurate depiction of like a scribe from like the recording
I
shit.
feel that, yeah.
Like,
Just
just
recording.
going out and recording stuff. Like I have so many videos on my phone, like little just like oh that's cool. I could take like a 4-second video of it, like a little like 8-second video
Mm-hmm.
here, a cool video online, I'll save that. Like that's like the coolest shit to me. It's
just
you-
like
you
telling a
watch it,
story,
it's like you're
sort of.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like oh like you get older, like you forget like how someone like talked, or like every time this kid spoke and his voice changed in this way, you know he was full of shit.
Yeah.
So like when you watch these videos, you can see that stuff, and it's just awesome. Like,
Yeah,
you start
t-
laughing. And
To
stuff.
me, it's like I just like feeling like I'm put in an environment or atmosphere, and just like that way of thinking. It's
Exactly.
like it's
like
so
it
euphoric,
teleports
you know?
back there. It's just like nostalgia. It will probably be nostalgic.
Yeah.
But like so like there's short films like that, but like just like major movies like
My
like,
favorite movie is The
that's-
Godfather.
that's
like
right, a great
I
movie.
I love like
Great movie.
spaghetti westerns and
Yeah.
like what's it called, like Fistful of Dollars is another
Yeah.
one. I like western movies. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I just
Yeah.
feel like it's so cool.
yeah.
Like the older movies, like 70s,
Yeah.
even like earlier before that. But yeah.
No, movies are the best, dude.
Oh no, I was talking about Marcus Aurelius, the
Right.
Meditations. That's what I read.
Right,
I read
okay.
like half of that,
Yeah.
but I've watched a lot of videos. I don't know about you, but I watched so many videos to learn. Like I really honestly don't read too much,
so
but
a lot of, I don't read much. I have
We all
I have
want
a
to,
big ass
you know?
stack of books, but I mean everyone can say they read a lot, but
Yeah.
who really reads a lot. You
No.
know what I mean? Probably not the people saying they read a lot.
yeah.
But no, man, I have yeah, so I watch videos like that, but a lot of podcasts and stuff, dude. Like you said.
Yeah, it's
lot of
that's like how it
movies.
is for us now. I feel
Yeah.
like because like now that we
It's just
have
easier, man.
yeah.
Just-
I honestly we went through everything I wanted to talk through.
I like this is how I like it, is
Yeah.
because it's not like the short ones are good and they're to the point and they cover what you want to cover, right? But like when you keep
I like
you
it
start with
long.
the short ones and then it becomes like a more natural conversation after like 5 minutes, and then it becomes like it starts with like manufactured as like, okay, this is like what we want to focus on, this is what we want to talk about, and then you can slowly build like a really good constructive conversation just from like that small idea, and then it like snowballs into like now we're talking about movies, and I was talking about fucking George Orwell, and then
Yes.
fucking you're
No,
talking
that's what
about
I
your
like.
YouTube videos,
Yes.
and it's like that's what I love, is because like this is like it's fun, like I enjoy doing this, you know what I mean? Like
No,
it's
for
fun
sure.
for me to do this.
Like
I'm
people
sure
think
it's
of it
fun
as
for you to do
work,
this.
but
It's not,
like
it's
bro,
awesome.
this isn't really work.
And
like,
if anyone watches this, right? Like if there's 12 people that watch this, if a single person smiled or took anything away from this, like one person, say 10 million people watch my video, if 10 people like laugh at it,
It
or, like,
means-
take
it
it away,
means the world.
just that makes my
yeah.
day.
I
You know what I mean? Like
feel
just
that.
like I made it like again, like I made that fucking podcast like literally over a year ago. Just it was when quarantine started, and I was like, oh, I'm bored. Like, oh, I love, like, let's do it. Like, why not? I literally, like, some of my teammates this year found out about it because I was like, talk about it. Like, you gotta say shit, whatever. So I would tell someone about it. Like, I have teammates that would, like, literally watch it, and they were like, dude, this is like this is funny.
I
man.
know
Like,
that. I've
they're
heard the
like, I
same
really
things.
like
It's-
this.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, it's super good. Like, you should do this again. And that's like, oh, like, yeah, but like,
You don't want it?
I really do. I really, really do. But like,
Are you just on like a different vibe?
I'm
now,
no.
or
So
what?
I'm trying to figure out like the logistics of everything. Like, okay, so I got to get it all set up. Like right now, I really want to do that at some point. But like right now, right before I go to school, it might not be the best time for me to like start really doing it. I bought a green screen. I bought all this shit just to put like random. I was gonna have like random effects, like waterfall, just like random ass shit, the stupidest stuff ever. So like change it.
What did you
change it.
talk about? I didn't even know you when you were doing this. I don't
So,
think.
yeah,
I mean,
no.
I didn't. I not know you. I obviously knew you. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't talk when you did. When
Yeah,
you did
I
this.
literally no. So it was like I was just like I had one of my buddies on, and like he like helped me helped me do everything. Like he made some graphics and stuff, and we just like sat down in my basement and literally just talked. Like actually no, sorry, we actually FaceTimed. So
Really?
I had him on FaceTime on my MacBook, and I had OBS, and I was recording him, and we literally just talked for an hour and a half, like seamlessly. I mean, a lot of it was just me guiding and telling stories, but like he had like a line. Like it was pretty. Like it was funny. Like my dad liked it. Like
Yeah, no,
my
that's
mom
the
liked
funny
it.
stuff.
Like it was cool.
Yeah.
Like no, so like I started like a graphic design media company in high school. And I would do apparel, and I would make
Oh, I didn't even know
logos.
about
No. So I did a ton of edits, and I made a good amount of money off of it.
Really? What,
Yeah.
What was it called?
It was called Burvin Media. Burvin Media.
I saw that. I did not know that was
Yeah.
you.
So it was called Burvin Media.
Oh shit.
And I made it in my basement. I was really bored over summer, and that was like my job, right? Like I wasn't working. I was playing lacrosse. I was traveling, whatever. And I would carry my laptop, and I would be making stuff constantly on my laptop. I'd be reaching out to pro players, like, "Hey, can I do some shit for you?"
Yeah.
And I got to play it was super cool experience. It was almost like an internship almost, but like I started it, so like, it
Yeah,
was
no,
company.
I
Like, I
know
got
what you
paid a little
mean.
bit, but a lot of it was like I was doing work for other people, and I kind of just got sick of like there were these like guys I would like look up to that would like kind of like shit on me. You know what I mean? It was like they would like I would make stuff for them, I'd work for them, and then like they would like
Why?
they would like, oh yeah, I'll pay you, I'll send you the shit, and then like they just like block my number or like block me on Instagram or unfollow me. It's like it got sick of it. Like I didn't want to like do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like it took the joy out of like the creative process, which was
it's tough
designing
when-
stuff.
yeah,
So
it's
it was
tough
like
when
now
there's-
it's like I got all those skills and I got all those connections, and like now I know how all the Photoshop shit and
Think of
the
all. Yeah, exactly.
digital
Think
stuff.
of
So
all you learned.
that's exactly that's what I take away from it. It's, you know what, I learned a lot. It's not for me. Like I actually got hired in this marketing company.
Like to intern or
No,
just
no,
like a
no. Like,
job?
so I was literally like, it was the most random thing. I had to deal with them where after I would leave school, like when I wouldn't have like sports, I would go to this office, and they had a bunch of Macs and they had a bunch of cameras. It was really cool.
Yeah.
There were 2 guys and a girl in
Mm-hmm.
this office, and they basically would run like social media accounts for people, like famous athletes. So like
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
NFL
crazy.
quarterback, like and then there was like ice cream shops, like in like Texas, like just
Uh-huh.
random stuff. And I would just sit there and they'd be like, okay, like, can you make like this stuff for this person? And I did
Oh,
it for like a
damn.
week or 2, and then I was like, this is like weird. Like, it
Really?
was very, because I got it to like my coach. It was a super weird, like artificial thing.
You
but, like,
did you just not like that you didn't have any like connection to it?
I kind of did, but it wasn't, again, like creating stuff and photoshopping stuff and making your own stuff for other people is fun. But once you get people telling you like what to do, and like, you know, like, okay, like this will look better. This is better. Trust me. And they're like, you have to do their ideas that you know are just way shittier, and you have to do that.
I would
And
not
then,
be able
and
to
then
do
you
that.
don't get rewarded. It's like, okay, like this is me, like this is my name, this is my
Oh
brand, and I'm putting
God,
out this
dude.
shit, like this shit stuff because you want it to be this way, because you're this athlete who X person told you you're worth X money, and it's like, okay, like no, this is
I know
like,
what you're talking
stupid, but
about.
now I have
Yes.
to do this, or else I feel bad, and it's like then I'm like why not? So like I have to do it, and then
Yeah.
the guy like, I don't want to do this. It sucks. So I
Yeah.
stopped doing it.
So wait, how did you come up with the name?
So, my nickname from my
Melvin?
childhood nickname is Melvin.
Yeah, is that
It's from the
Parent.
giraffe. So the giraffe from Madagascar's name is Melman, but I thought it was Melvin, and I was like a clumsy ass kid, and I love Madagascar. So I had Madagascar plates, shirts, everything. So my dad started calling me Melvin. It's like, oh, you're such a Melvin, right? So it stuck. And then I grew up, like, everyone, some of my close friends and my family, like, they call me Melvin sometimes. My dad still does, like, every day. And then I was like, hey, like, one of my other buddies, his name's Jack Bird. Jack Bird, I love you, man. But he also plays
Shout out
lacrosse.
Jack.
He goes to, shout out Jack. He goes to UMass, but he also knew kind of about Photoshop and stuff, and he also had the connections and stuff. So I was like, hey, man, like, I started this thing, like, and like, there's potentially money in it. Like, do you want to help me run it? Because I probably gonna need someone to help me, right? So I got him on board. So we got Bervin. Yeah.
So how do you feel about that now? Like, was that something you'd want to do, or like, what do you?
So the way I feel about like that world, right, and like the graphic design, like the media world, is like, it's really fun if it's like you doing stuff you want to do and like for your pleasure. Like if it's something cool that you think you would enjoy making and you would learn from making, or like you go on YouTube and learn new techniques, like that's fun. But when you turn it into a job, it's almost a better hobby than a job.
I know
you know what
saying,
I mean?
yeah.
Like it kind of ruins it when it's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you what you have to do
Because
and
you're
have to do it
working
this
for other
way.
people, pretty much.
Exactly, and it's like, okay, well, this is more. I don't enjoy this anymore. This is something I like doing. If I want to continue to enjoy doing this and making art on my whatever, I don't want to do it for someone else. I want to do it for myself.
Yeah.
Again.
No, that's how I feel too. It's like, I know that I wouldn't be able to work for someone else and come up with the ideas that I do, because at this point I've realized how much of an idea I have of what I want to be doing, and I have such like a vision for it. So that's what I'm going to do. And like at the end of the day, if you enjoy it, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Totally.
And it shines through, and like
does.
people see that, and
It
that's why
does.
they want to support. You know.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
It's a
talk
genuine
about that
feel.
all the time.
You know what I mean?
That genuineness. Yeah.
Just complete genuineness, transparency. Like no one wants to be harassed. No one wants to be yelled at. No one wants to feel like it's
They
all
need
bullshit.
to not sacrifice, like sell themselves.
Sell
pretty
their
much,
self
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, I honestly think that was really good.
No, man, for sure.
I think that sort of wraps it up. Everyone follow Robbie on Instagram
Yeah.
at Robbie Martin. So
Sure.
yeah, are you like gonna be like do anything like that people you want to let people know about, or just
Not really.
yeah?
Not
All right.
really.
Yeah, that sounds
Just
good.
doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like I said in the past few videos, hats and hoodies are coming out very soon. We're gonna announce the hats soon, and then the hoodies right after that. So,
Sick stuff.
yeah, thank you.
Cool. Cool stuff, man.
Yeah, so tell your friends about us, and we appreciate you for watching. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
GC. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for helping.
Yeah, man.
Next week, the pod will be a little bit later in the week, and if you made it to the end, put us on a quote that you like in the comments.